Episode 318, everyone. Welcome to this week and the three messages we want to tell you about to hook you in to watch the show. We have a hot little item around the change of the behavior of the website tab in Microsoft Teams. Did create some discussion in the community. We also have collaborative notes is going to be easier to add to meetings. Let's talk more about that. And finally, got to get some Copilot in there and a new behavior that will keep those Copilot people happy as they use it within Microsoft Teams channels. This is 318. Let's do it.
Amazing.
Hey, welcome back.
Hello. Yes, controversy, travesty or something. I don't know. Controversy this week on a couple of messages we are going to cover. So excited about that. How are you, Darrell? You doing well in that southern hemisphere? It's freezing here. I don't know about there,
Yes.
but it's freezing.
No, look, I know like weather's a topic that's good to start off with, but like I've got to brag when we have summer. Because you guys do this halfway through the year, and it has been a scorcher. It's been really good here.
Yeah.
So it sounds like literally the polar blast opposite.
It definitely is. We got this past week, everything shut down. In this part of the country, when it snows, I think we got at least 8 inches of snow, maybe a little bit more, but then it had a little bit more moisture, warmed up, and then it froze again. So there's a nice layer of ice underneath the snow. It's great for driving. So anyway, just been stuck in the house. I'm grateful to have a warm home. So I'm not complaining, but it's pretty cold here. So you know what would warm my heart is if everyone who's watching this, everyone that's watching this, smash that thumbs up button, that like button in YouTube, and give us a subscribe if you haven't already. If you have subscribed, have you shared the link to this episode on your socials? If you haven't, then are you really participating? Because if you haven't, then I'm not sure you have. So if you're listening to the audio podcast or watching
Daniel,
the video,
let me interject there.
Share the link. Yes, Darrell, you can interject. Please do.
I have to say it. You know, it's the usual thing. We've got to demonstrate value. We don't want people just retweeting stuff without going through and seeing what's in there. We could be misinforming them about.
That's what people do. That's what people do, Darrell. That's what people do. They just retweet and they like and they reshare and post and all that, and they don't even know what they're doing. So might as well be a link about our show, about this episode. So go get that link, whether it's the audio podcast or the video, and share it right now. We'd greatly appreciate it. This week, we have some exciting messages. It seems like at least last week, maybe the week before, it was sponsored by Teams. And I think this episode is going to be sponsored by Teams as well. We should start charging them as a sponsor, I think. We need to get somebody in the product team to sponsor the show because we keep talking about this stuff. Yeah. I do, but I'm not entirely sure they're going to give us any money. So anyway,
maybe we could get them to do like participate in a new opening video sequence. Yeah, somehow.
Maybe so. Maybe that would be good. So anyway, welcome everyone. We're glad you're here. And I think it's, time for us to jump in and start talking about these messages.
Well, the first one's yours, sir.
Okay, well then I'll take it. Changes to the website tab in the new Teams client. This is a biggie. Oh my goodness. MC 708500. This is a biggie, and I'm not too happy about it. I'll just go ahead and lay my cards on the table. I'm not excited about this at all. What this is, if you're using Teams, when you go to add a tab in a channel, there's many things you can select from, and one of those is website, which means you can add a website any URL you throw in there, then when people click on that tab, that website loads. Or sometimes Teams goes, I can't load this. Click this button and it'll open up in your browser. Okay. Well, that's fine and dandy, but Teams has tabs for, functionality to add all of the M365 kind of things. You can a planner tab and a SharePoint site tab, and, you got those functionality. So what this message is telling us is that from now on, and this is starting early April, and I'm going to tell you why I think it's early April and not February. Okay. They're saying in early April, they're going to, if you add a website tab, when someone clicks on it, it's going to open up a browser tab instead. It's not going to bring that or leave that user in that Teams experience. It's going to open up a browser tab. I don't know any inside information, but I think the reason why this is early April, one reason may be that they want some feedback here, given some time to let this bake, because this is a big deal. Why I say it's a big deal is this website tab is used as basically a workaround for some of the limitations that we have in Teams. One that I have used often is I want to have the intranet site, and so I use the website tab, or I share a workbook out to a different tenant and give them a read link, and they can put that in a website tab, and so when they're in their Teams, they can view the workbook in a shared link. So there's others, Darrell. I know there's other functionality that use this, things like Planner or others. There's differences in private channels and such that way, you can't use certain tabs in private. And I think that's a workaround that a lot of people use this for. And I think this is going to be very disruptive. What do you think? Do you use this in your day-to-day? What kind of ways do you use the website tab?
To be honest, I have avoided using it for as long as possible because early on, and even now, it doesn't do a great job sometimes of passing through your logged in state if you're trying to get into a Microsoft 365 service. And so I just preferred to not use it. And the one example that I started using again recently, I'd created a video to try and explore some ways of bringing in Loop workspaces into a team, or at least bringing content in that was to do with Loop. And people say, "Oh, but we just add the workspace as a tab using the website tab." And I'm like, "Oh, it's working reliably again now, sort of." But that's not going to be working. You mentioned also the Planner one, and I know it's one of our friends. I think that he uses it to bring Planner into a private channel. So that it's shareable.
Absolutely. And I think there has been improvements. It seems like, whether it's the new Teams or I've had way better performance and pass through of credentials, like you were talking about with the website tab. But so Microsoft is saying, we're going to change this behavior. So my suggestion, if you don't like this, is use the built-in do you like this change? It's at the very bottom of the message. Hit the thumbs down and say why you don't like the change. That feedback does get looked at and could be passed on to the product group. If you have other ways of communicating with Microsoft, I would suggest you use it if this is something that you don't like. I understand there's the reason why they're doing this, in that they're thinking about privacy and security, and I get that. However, I just feel like taking that user outside of that Teams experience, opening up a new tab, it just is really going to negatively affect the way people do business, the way they do work. So that is rolling out, like I said, early April. So get your clicker on and click that thumbs down if you don't like it, and contact Microsoft and let them know. if you do like it, then maybe hit the thumbs up. But I will be hitting the thumbs down, just in case you didn't realize that. So, Darrell, can we transition, please, sir, and maybe go over to the Viva side of the house and talk about a new feature that's coming to Viva Engage?
Sure thing. This feature is something that community managers have found useful, and perhaps just regular people too, where you may have posted a message into a community and you want to move it. So the Microsoft Viva Engage new feature to limit moving of conversations across communities, MC 708076. This, as a community owner, lets you mark your community to prevent non-admins, regular people, regular users, from moving messages into your community. Admins will still be able to do this if they need to. As I said, it's one of those features that kind of comes up when someone has posted a question or a post or something in a community. It doesn't really fit with that community, and side comment. I'm going to take a dig. This is a big sidestep here, Daniel, but I'm finding this happening frequently in a LinkedIn community or group that I run, and it's encouraged, almost enabled by a LinkedIn feature that once you've posted something, it says, hey, you might want to post it here in this random community over here. Rant off. This is rant about LinkedIn, not about Engage. But this is going to be helpful for some of your, I guess, more official organizational marked communities where you might want to have more control over what people can move into that. And that's when you would switch it on. So this is a good message where we see a screenshot that lets us know what's coming. And you'll notice at the bottom of the screenshot, that's where we'll direct your attention to the feature. It's a switch that you can turn across. So, yeah, I think, don't know if there's much that you want to add to this, Daniel.
Nah, I think you did a good job there. It's one of those, like, you hit the nail on the head. I think, there's certain communities you just don't want people moving content into, kind of official quote unquote communities. That maybe you want to kind of protect them a little bit. In the same, I think it's kind of the same side of the coin. When you're there's teams, channels, where you don't want people posting. They can reply, but you don't want them, creating new threads, keeping things on topic. Same thing within the community. You want to keep it on topic, and you want people to be a little bit more focused on that. And so, maybe it is you need to set up, and I think here's the change, Darrell, for this is how do we get those messages moved into those communities? So organizations need to have the ability to have a workflow, not necessarily a technology workflow, but a workflow of who do they go talk to? Is it a ticket that they have to open up or whatever to get a conversation moved into a community that's closed effectively to these types of moves. So, yeah.
Excellent advice. This is appearing in your tenants now and should be fully rolled out by the end of March. So the next few messages, we're bundling 3 together. Daniel's going to take them on, and of course I've got some side comments, but we feel they all kind of fit in the same boat in terms of adding capabilities. So get us started, Daniel.
Yeah, so I say I'm doing extra work on this episode. I get it. I see how it is. Microsoft Teams tags will be supported in private channels. Yippee! MC 707674. This is bringing that tags functionality that we have in our standard channels. Tags to be able to say, I'm going to group the users that are part of this channel by their job function or their region or maybe both, or and be able to mention that tag, mention them to get their attention, right? So everybody you could say at Southeast or at this city or at project managers, whatever, create these tags where we're going to be able to do that in private channels. That's awesome, right? Well, you might be saying, hey, there's another type of channel. Yes, there is. There's shared channels. So let's look at MC 707670 tags in shared channels.
I want to hear you say yippee again, Daniel.
Yippee! Tags in shared channels for Microsoft Teams. This one is the same thing, but coming into shared channels. Darrell, you asked a question before the show, and I think it's a valid question that, shared channels can most certainly, out of the box, you can create a shared channel without doing really any configuration and add people from other teams within your organization, add them all in here. They don't have to be part of that team. And, you can create tags with these people, I guess. But you had a question about, that kind of, who can you add as a part of a tag, and what about those outside people that you might bring into a shared channel, right?
Yeah, I think it'd be good to know this, and I've dug into one or two of the links here to try and find it. But I guess members of a shared channel, I've seen a shared channel a bit like a small team anyway. Membership is managed, and the ability to have tags and add people to them means that we should be able to add anyone who can access that channel, because it is a good way to call out people and not rely on human behavior, which hey everyone, can you follow this channel and make sure that it is shown and not hidden, so that you can get a mention of a channel name. No. This is why we use tags. I hope that it does support people from other teams or even other organizations where you've got that B2B relationship.
I think it will. So both of those are going to be rolling out mid-February through late February for targeted release, and standard late February, completed late March. Okay. So both of those. Now, Darrell said 3, right? So here's the third one. Microsoft Teams private and shared channels links, MC 707648. So in kind of the same vein as bringing functionality that's in a standard channel down to private and shared channels, we're going to be able to grab a share link to private and shared channels and say, grab that link and be able to send it, right? So here's that private channel I was mentioning to you and you're a member of. Hey, can you go take a look at this, or share channel? So be able to grab that link, and makes it so much easier for people to find things, especially if they're involved with, dozens and dozens of teams. It sometimes can be very difficult. This is something that is all about, it's just a link to give them quick access, but it doesn't give them permission, right? This is not a, security hole. This is something where they click on it. If they don't have access, they're not going to get access. This is, secure. So make sure we understand that. So this will begin rolling out early February, mid to mid-February for preview and targeted release, standard release, mid-February to late February. So the timing is a little different, a little quicker than the tags that we just talked about. But then we also have the GCC timings as well. GCC late February to early March, GCC high, late February to early March. Same thing, okay, people, as GCC. But DoD is early March through mid-March. I'm excited about this. I'm very excited about any functionality coming from standard channels down to, private and shared. I know you are too, Darrell. I think that's, any of that kind of functionality we can get, right? So I'm all happy about it.
Consistent experience, Daniel.
Well, speaking of consistent experience or maybe the lack thereof, let's talk about syncing in Microsoft Outlook, shall we?
Sure. Syncing, of course. That's what Microsoft Outlook does, right? Title, Microsoft Outlook new sync feature. What? What do you mean new sync feature? Don't we already have sync? MC707650. This is a tiny message, really, compared to, I guess, the topic. And we said at the top of the show that there were some messages that created some conversation on socials. This was one of them. Let's just go through the story. I do forget the person, but then it's probably a good thing I'm not calling them out. They sent a message using New Outlook. New Outlook is said to, and if you're very, very observant, you'll see that it's very much, if not the same, as Outlook on the web. So what happens when we go to Outlook on the web? I'll ask you, Daniel. Let's just switch this up a bit. What happens when you send a message in Outlook on the web?
Well, it's you click send and it just goes. Now there's an outbox, right? And so it kind of flows, and it's very similar to the way we all kind of remember Outlook desktop being, right? You click send, it goes into an outbox, and then, if there's multiple messages in the outbox, whenever it's ready to sync, it sends them, right?
Yeah, that's right. And perhaps it just happens very, very quickly in the Outlook Online that we don't see it go to the Outbooks. It just gets sent. So our fair expectation is you hit send, it gets sent. Now, the new Outlook is running locally, or parts of it, it would seem. So there is some local experience, but it is predominantly doing the same thing that Outlook on the web is doing. And for this person who kind of helped us see about this, the need for this feature, they had sent a message, but it hadn't arrived, and they were using the new Outlook. The new Outlook on the desktop does not show a Outbox folder, this Outbox folder. So they thought that it had been sent. However, they checked in sent, so there wasn't in their sent items. And when they went online and looked at Outlook on the web, they saw that it was sitting there in an Outbox folder. So that's probably the reason for this feature, Daniel, is it is going to introduce a new email sync button, which kind of feels like it's a bit odd that we would have to click it and send it, and I guess it raises other questions too.
Yeah, Darrell,
when do we think we should use it?
Yeah, when is this going to get us back to, because we've gotten away from it because there wasn't there. Frankly, I used to click send on an email in Outlook desktop, previous version, and then go hit send and receive. So just to be safe, knew that it was being sent. So is this going to get us back to those days where, people go send and then they click and they go send? No, I really want you to send it. Because
I really want to make sure.
Well, but because it doesn't say it in the message here. So how would I know that there's a send problem? Right? How do I know that, like your example you're giving, how do I know there's a message stuck in the outbox? So to be, to force me to go, I want to hit send to make it go. Maybe they're going to show it, but they didn't say it here in the message. So that's what
I think that's got to be the follow on. They've got to show the outbox folder, which seems, functionally, surely this is still taking the same path as if it was a synchronizing function. But anyway, nice to see that it's there. It certainly would have solved a problem, or helped to solve a problem. Maybe not, actually.
I don't know.
Because they still didn't know whether it was sent or not.
Exactly. How do you know you need to click the button? And we don't know the answer to that. Yeah.
It's also it's going to be on the View tab of the ribbon.
Right.
And we're not on the View tab when we're sending messages. We're usually on kind of just that standard, what is it called? Yeah, that tab. I've got to look at it now.
It's the Home tab.
The Home tab. Yeah. Of course it's called the Home tab.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Yeah,
anyway.
there could be still some fun with this feature.
Absolutely.
It is beginning to roll out mid-February and expected to be fully arrived in early March. And we suggest that the outbox be displayed at the same time. If you're listening, Microsoft,
Yeah.
that actually probably will be something I might use the "Do you like this change?" and make that suggestion.
Yeah.
Daniel. Well, let's get back to our Outlook. Let's get back to Microsoft Teams.
Hit the sync button on Outlook. Yes. No, let's get to Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams allow meeting participants to create collaborative notes. Hey, MC 708-499. So the functionality, the way it works now, you're in Teams as the organizer. You can add collaborative notes to the meeting so that everybody can, add notes before, during, and after. And we all know, because we watch the show, or for us, we're kind of the hosts of it. But for you watch the show and that's creating a loop component in the back end to facilitate this wonderful collaboration. Well, what this message is saying now, if Darrell schedules, we're in the same tenant and Darrell schedules a meeting and sends it to me, I'm going to be able to add that collaborative note. I don't have to pick up the phone or send him a Teams message saying, hey, will you please add the collaborative note so I can do it. Now, that's great, right? Gets collaboration going, gets those collaboration juices flowing. It's going to be great. But one thing I'd like for us to talk about, we don't have to dwell on this, Darrell, but one thing I'd like for us to talk about is go back to the point of this uses a loop component, which then you have to remember that gets stored somewhere. Just like a meeting recording, whoever started the recording, they get their meeting recording, right? If this is an ad hoc meeting, what is it really called? Those meetings that are not channel meetings, Darrell, what are they called? You know this answer. It's a standard meeting. I don't know.
They call them private meetings. Private meetings versus channel meetings.
That's ridiculous. I don't like that term. We're going to call them ad hoc meetings. Then whoever clicked record, or if it was set up to automatically record, whoever came in first, the recording gets dumped in their OneDrive. Well, same thing here, I would assume, right, Darrell? Whoever clicks the add the notes, they get the loop component. Would that be your assumption too?
Yep. Yes. And I would say early on when this feature was released, that's how it worked. You could click add the collaborative notes, and they would be added by you and to your OneDrive, not necessarily to the meeting organizer's OneDrive.
Yeah, so, and I think you're talking about like pre-release, when they were testing and doing this, right? Because I think, it has been that it's been the organizer for a while, right? They're the ones that had to add that. So we kind of gotten used to it in a way that it had to be the organizer to do it. But now anyone can do that. But, I think I just want to mention that it's another thing now that, and Microsoft, I don't think cares, it makes sense. Whoever clicks the button gets the loop component, but, it is a thing. What happens when that person leaves the organization? We know that OneDrives can be taken over and all that. I get it, but then there's stuff that's shuffling around and all this. And I know that Teams, the recap, is very important, right? And when we go to Teams and we get the recap, we'll see the collaborative notes, we'll see the recording. So that's great, but where things are stored are kind of important. So we have to keep that in mind whenever we are, using this functionality or thinking about, using functionality that loop component is going to be wherever or with whomever click the button. So that's the important thing to remember. So I would say last up is a new Copilot functionality, right, Darrell?
Yes, Daniel. This one of the wonderful new features in Copilot, and we're already getting them. It's generally available now, and you can available for purchase. But yeah, we're getting feedback, of course, about how this works. So this feature, where we might be using Copilot within a channel or a chat, that if we've opened up the side panel and maybe we've used it for summarizing things, well, MC 707633 will keep that panel open. If you go away from your group chat or your channel conversation and you come back, then for you, the panel will be open for you to continue the conversation with Copilot, because Copilot is our personal assistant, Daniel, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I think they want it to be. Yes.
Yeah. So if you're having that conversation with your personal assistant and you said, "Oh, give me a summary," or tell me about asking a question about the conversation, you want to come back and still find that. And this is one of the benefits of multi-turn type, the AI, that you can continue that conversation, come back and do that. So, I mean, that is really the core of this feature. We do have a screenshot in there that at least tells us or shows us what that will look like. What I would have liked to have seen is we could see at the bottom Copilot at 10:35, and it gives roughly the date of when this last Copilot prompt session happened. It would have been good to have seen a date also on the message above, so that we could tell that, oh yeah, this happened a day apart or something like that.
Yeah.
But we get the gist of it. And there's nothing you need to do, just that it'll be there. Copilot will be there, and it'll open up. I think that there might be some limits to how this will work. That, it's not like we come back and we actually want to start or continue the conversation we had earlier. Sometimes we do want to start a brand new thread and start drilling Copilot for details.
That's a great point. Will it remember the thread? Or is it will it have to be a new one? Is it just going to be there? We can start a new one. We can say, hey, let's start a new conversation. But, it's good that it'll be there and remember that we want it there. Now, people, hopefully who haven't gotten used to, hey, I can leave, and that means it removes it, because it's not going to now. It's going to stay there. You have to clear Copilot if you want it to actually leave. It's like it's always going to be there for you, whether you like it or not.
Exactly. And keep it in mind if you do need to use all 20 turns or 30 turns. I forget what the count is. So yeah, that's cool. So that is rolling out early February, completed mid-February, the standard release. If you have subscribed to that release.
Yeah.
That's the show, Daniel. We did cover quite a few messages, and I did make you work pretty hard in the middle there.
Do I get extra pay?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Bonus.
Yes.
Bonus. You get
double my pay for this one. Yes. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Hey, hit us up on socials or in the comments. Let's say it that way. Let us know what you think. We'd love to engage with you. We'd love it when people leave comments on the video, or hit us up on socials at 365MCS on all the socials that matter. We'd love to have conversations with you and keep it going, and really be part of this community building around these changes and how we help each other keep up with what's going on. So really appreciate your participation, and really appreciate you for watching and listening.
Definitely. So until 3:19 next week, see you then.
Bye-bye.